everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to go through all of the eyeshadow palettes that I used in the month of June. There's quite a lot here. I actually did a pretty decent job of trying to focus on the actual palettes that are in projects, and I think my numbers reflect that, because normally my stack of one-use palettes is really large. This month there are only 7 palettes that I only use once. Everything else I used more than once. So I feel like that's different because usually it's like 15 I used one time and then the others sort of I used only a few times. Yeah, I'm really trying. And also, I don't know, I'm really excited about this, but I like color coded my tracking for the month. So every time I use an eyeshadow palette, I write it down, I write the date. This is like an old 2025 diary that I never used, but I'm just using it, the papers, so I don't want to be wasteful, right? So this was May, and then this is June. So I have like, I write the date, and then I write the palette, and now I've color coded the palette so I can see, you know, because it was really getting really hard for me to see how many times I went into one palette. I don't know what was wrong. I just couldn't do it. So I color coded it, and now I feel like I can see everything in a nice visual way. So anyway, I thought that was exciting. I am such a nerd when it comes to things like that. Okay, so in this video, I don't rank the palettes like my favorite to least favorite or whatever. I just rank by usage, but I can do a different way if enough people tell me they want that. But I do have my first stack. So we're going to go with the palettes I use the least all the way up into the palettes that I use the most. I also will share makeup looks with those when I talk about them. So I have tried to take visuals of all of the eyeshadow that I've done. I think I've been pretty good with that, and so that will be scattered around as well. I'm wondering if I should, I think I'm going to scoot over. I'm going to scoot over and I'm going to see, like, maybe I'll have more space on this side so you can actually see everything. So that's what we're doing. Okay, cool. All right, so the first one here, this is no particular order, but I did end up going into this palette. This is Candy Puppet from Noiricorn, and this is a really nice palette. I did do a first impressions video. I was sent this by C Beauty Mall. You can get it, and I have a code, an affiliate link, and everything down below. But this was nice. I only tried it the once though, so I want to try it again. They have some really nice shades in here, and it's kind of opened my eyes to what this brand is like. So I definitely am interested in their other color stories too, because obviously this is pretty grungy. But yeah, I only used that the one time in my first impressions video. I also went into the Glamshop Rich Romantic palette. This one I went into a couple of shades when I did my Shop My Stash. So if you watched that video, you would have known. I think I pulled 2 random shades from each of the palettes that I pulled for that video, and I used them, so that was a nice way to get some use out of palettes. I also went into this one from Glamshop. This is also in that video. For my Shop My Stash, I rolled 2 random shades in this one. I think I went into this one. Oh no, which one did I go into? Maybe? No, I think it was this one that I went into, and then another pretty one. I love this palette. This is so beautiful. And then I also have the Sorbetti here. This one is also from Glamshop. So I went into this one for a different makeup look, a different day. Let me just show you what this one looks like. I don't really recall what the makeup look looks like, but because I write down the date that I did it, what I do when I do my makeup is I do a little clip. I mean, as you would have seen already, hopefully you would have seen of what I've done. And because I've written it down and I have the date and I can correlate the date to my camera, I've been able to track it that way. Otherwise, there's just no other way I could really do this. I tell you what, editing this video, these videos are not super long, but editing them takes me forever. But anyway, I'm really happy that I got use out of some of these palettes, even though I only used them the one day. Another palette that I only used once this month is the Dying Day from Titanium Fox. This was also pulled from my Shop My Stash, and I only used 2 shades. But for this one, this has now been rolled into my No Pan Left Behind. So I'm going to get a lot more uses on this one over the coming month or and a half. And so we'll have some pretty looks to share with you, hopefully, in our next videos. And I do plan to do maybe a 3 or 4 looks video with that one too, so fingers crossed I can do that. Next up, I also used the Dark Dreamscape palette from Beautifier once. I think I went into just the one shade. I'm not sure. I think it was just the one shade. I was trying to do a look. Was it this one? I don't actually remember which one, but I wrote it down that I used this, so my brain is not working. But yeah, I need to get more use on this one too. This was a new palette for me for Christmas. And then I also, this is the last, oops, everything's gonna fall. Hold on, let me just fix this. Okay, and then the last one that I used only the one time is my Midnight palette from Beautifier. So this one is looking like this, and I just went into this one for some blues when I did my book of the month. I went into this one, and I think, yeah, I went to that one, and I think a denim, and then this one as well. Just a few blues. I think the blues in here are really good. So moving on, we have two palettes I used twice. We've got this one, which was rolled into my Project Level Up. This is from Easy Paris Cosmetics, and it's just a little quad. And so, yeah, I used all the shades, and the look honestly looked the same both days. It looks like it's the same day if I can recall what they look like. You can't really do anything different with this palette. But I did pair it with my Color of Brain from Gloss God. So again, the look looked really, really similar. But yeah, only went into that twice in June. And then I also used my Call of the Sirens from Gourmand Girls twice as well. I thought I used this. Oh no, this one I actually used 3 times. It's in the three quantity category. But no, I forgot to track one of the days. So yeah, this one I am trying to hit pan in this yellow right here. So that's why I'm using this randomly. I still don't have a pan. It's a pretty yellow, but it's not an easy yellow for me to use all the time because it does go very green. So if I don't want green on my eyes, like I kind of wished it was just a yellow, but it's not. So it is what it is. I have one other palette that I used 3 times in the month of June, and it is the Desert Monsoon from What's Up Beauty. I actually have 2 shades now rolled into projects. So this one I really need to get a move on. I need to start working on this because I'm not close to pan on either one of those. And they're just mattes. They're good, easy mattes to use. So I just need to start working on them. And that's everything that I used 3 times. These next ones I use quite a bit more. I use them 4 times each. So the first one is the Avatar from Lethal Cosmetics. This is the Earth one, and I was working on hitting pan in this shade. As you can see, I did end up hitting pan, so that's been rolled out of a project, but that's why I was going into this palette. Another one that I've used 4 times is the Muse palette from Cosmic Beauty. Again, I have this shade that I'm working on. I really love that shade. I think this is a really nice shade. If I'm gonna wear purple, I like that shade. I really like pairing it with something peach, and specifically the peach that I have in my Mercury, the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. I think they work so beautifully, and you'll see in some of the looks that I did that I do pair them together quite often. But yeah, still no pan, but you know, I'm still using this and I'm still working on it. It's just sometimes things take time. And then I also have one other palette that I used 4 times in the month of June, and it is my Lunar Beauty Nude Prism. This one I'm doing in No Pan Left Behind. So I'm trying to use all the shades, which I haven't done yet. So this will roll into July, but I should hopefully get that done and finished in July. Next up, I went into my Color of Rain from Gloss God, finishing up my Project Level Up. This is my level 5, so yeah, there's still quite a bit to go. I have the pans, I'm just trying to finish up the uses now, which I'm very close to doing. So we are almost there. You know, the looks that I do with that kind of probably all end up the same, and it's fine. It's just, I do what I think looks best, and obviously I'm only trying to work on certain shades. So some of my looks do look quite similar to each other. All right, then we have palettes that I've used 5 times. There's quite a lot here. I mean, I'm pretty pretty good with, like I said at the beginning, I feel like my uses on at least the palettes that I need to work on were pretty high, so I like that. Anyway, I also went into another Cosmic Beauty palette. This is the Lovers, and I'm working on this shade right here, and you can see I have a nice little dip forming now. And again, this pairs really nicely with the purple that I just showed you in the Muse palette, and also with my Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. Like that, it's just delicious. This pink flip is just absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I do group them together quite often. Okay, I have the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. So this was rolled into my palette takeover week for the end of June. And so for that week, if you're not familiar, I have been doing a random palette takeover week every single month. The last week of the month, I randomize a palette, and if I'm gonna wear eyeshadow, I have to use that palette. So this was rolled in for June, and I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed. There's just not much variety you have with this palette, but I did end up doing 5 looks for that week. I had quite a busy week. I did have a few appointments that I needed to go to, as well as I wanted to film videos as well. So there was quite a lot to do that week, and I did end up pairing this with other palettes in the week, which I hadn't done during a different takeover week. I just found this to be too boring and bland for what I wanted for the week. Not that I don't like this palette, I really like this palette, but I think I just wanted something else that was just too neutral, this palette, for my liking for the week that I had it. So for that week, I did bend the rules slightly. So the looks have a little, so I allow myself to use one shade from one different palette if I wanted to. Not all of them I did, but some of them I did. So that's why there's a little bit of color in some of them. Anyway, moving on, I also went into the 'Tis the Season palette from Cosmic Beauty 5 times. I was finishing up my No Pan Left Behind on this one, and I was also finishing up a 4 Looks 1 palette with this palette, which you should hopefully have seen yesterday if I have my timings all right. I am doing quite a bit of pre-filming because it's end of school now, so I'm trying to film as much as possible and get ahead of the game so that I can have time with my son. So I think my videos will probably become a little bit more scattered, but I'm trying to keep a schedule at this point. But yeah, anyway, this one I ended up doing quite a few looks for those reasons, and I enjoyed it. And then I went into my Singe Beauty Galactic Visitor 5 times as well. I am trying to hit pan in this shade, which is in my Pan Those eyeshadows. I absolutely love it. It is so beautiful, that shade. But yeah, I think I also pulled this palette for this shade. I think it was that shade for a random video, I think. But I might be wrong. But anyway, I obviously went into this 5 times regardless. And that shade, I paired this shade with the Muse shade that I shared with you, with my Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, which I'll share. And it ended up being so beautiful. I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was my favorite look. I'll hopefully try to maybe do like a circle in the editing so you know which one I'm talking about. But it was my favorite look, I think, of the month. I think, maybe not, I don't know, I can't remember everything. I think I did some pretty looks, and I did some like not so pretty looks, and then, you know, it was a little hit and miss somewhere along the way, but I really like that one. Okay, now we have my last 3 palettes that I've used the most. So in 3rd place, we have the Makeup Revolution Astronova palette. I have been trying to hit pan in the shade down here, and yeah. Did you see it? I don't know. You might not. Maybe you didn't see it, but I really, really like that shade. I put it in my inner corner. I have it in my inner corner. It is a really, really pretty shade, and I may or may not have hit pan. We'll see. We'll see. My tummy is rumbling. I'm hungry. It's almost lunchtime. I'm hungry. Okay, moving on, we have the Ensley Rain Flower Moon. This is my Pan That palette for the year. I'm not going into my Pan That palette that much compared to other years, but you know what? I don't mind. It is what it is. it's not a big deal for me. But anyway, this is what it looks like, and I end up still, every time I go into this palette, I really enjoy the looks that I create with it, but I do want to always use a different palette when I go into this palette. I don't find this palette to be a one and done palette where, I mean, I can go into just this palette and make a look that is pretty, but I always feel like I can make it nicer, or I can do my type of look by bringing in a different palette to use with this one. So that's unfortunate, because it is nice to always, it's nice to have a palette that you can do everything with, but it isn't one of those palettes, so it's fine, whatever. I don't mind mixing. Like, I use so many eyeshadow palettes on my eyes sometimes, it's ridiculous. Like, when I'm writing down all the palettes that I've used in that one day, it's so ridiculous sometimes, but whatever. Okay, anyway, it's not even like the amount of shades that I use. I can use 2 shades in one palette, then still use 5 other palettes for a look if I'm just like messing around and playing around. So anyway, the palette that I use the most, which I'm really excited about because this palette I have been neglecting like crazy, is my Pan That palette in order for the year, and it's the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. This one, I want to hit pan in all of these in order. So I've been going into this shade. Still no pan, no spoiler there. I think the pan is very, very close. Now, this is the shade that I love. Like, I have it on my crease today. That's just where I like it. It just is the prettiest peachy shade that I have. It's peachy pink. I tell you what, that is my all-time favorite color in the world. To wear on my face, whether it suits me or not, I do not care. It is my favorite color, and I'm just going to die on this hill. So I have really enjoyed going into that shade, obviously trying to hit pan. Still no pan, but I'm pretty close, and you know, I have enjoyed the looks that I've created with this palette this month. So yeah, that's it. Those are all of the palettes. I'm gonna scoot over now. Those are all of the palettes that I used in the month of June. You know, I tell you what, I'm really enjoying myself at the moment in terms of being more involved and getting back into makeup. It's making me happier, but I am tracking overload, you know? I'm really trying to stay as organized as possible, and like color coding this was very helpful for me, because after I do this, I go then to my spreadsheet and then I write down in there how many uses I have for that month for that palette, because at the end of the year, I want to see which palettes I've used the most. And obviously, you know what's coming up. I'm going to do a mid-year recap of the palettes that I've used the most so far and my most neglected palettes. It's coming. I've already got it scheduled in the calendar. Those 2 videos will be coming, as well as some other like mid-year videos. But I think that's really interesting, and I've already had a look which ones I've neglected. It's honestly not that bad. Because I'm such a crazy person and I mix so much and I don't just use one palette on my eyes when I do a makeup look, I've actually managed to really, like, the percentage in terms of how many palettes I've used versus how many I actually have is not that bad. So I think I'm doing well, but there's definitely palettes that I'm neglecting, which we will talk about soon in a video. But anyway, those are, yeah, all the palettes I used in June. Who knows if I'm going to wear as much in July. My son's out of school and we're going to be out and about in the pool. So like, I don't really want to wear makeup all the time. So I think I might slow down, but then also I'm really having fun. So maybe I won't. I don't know. I'll wear makeup in the morning and then I just wash it off in the afternoon. Who knows? Maybe that will be the new thing for me. I don't mind. I honestly don't mind. If it makes me happy, it makes me happy. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I will see you all in a new one very soon. Bye.